today we've got something pretty unusual.
Yeah, definitely caught my eye too. We're looking at the music industry, specifically a protest that's, well, silent.
Silent. Exactly. We're talking about an actual album release, but
Mm.
with no sound. Over 1,000 musicians are involved.
That's right. And some really big names, people like Annie Lennox, Kate Bush, even Andrew Lloyd Webber.
So why release an album of, well, nothing? What's the message here?
It's a protest. They're campaigning against the UK government, specifically about proposed changes to copyright law relating to AI.
Ah, AI and copyright. Okay, that makes more sense. So what's the specific worry for these artists?
The core fear is that these changes could essentially give tech companies a free pass
A free pass to do what?
to use their existing work, their recordings, their voices, specific performances, to train artificial intelligence models
Hmm.
for free.
Right. And these AI models could then, what, create music that sounds like them, compete with them.
Precisely. They see it as their creative output being used to build systems that could potentially replace them or devalue their work without any permission or payment. It feels like a basic violation of copyright principles to them.
I can see why they'd be concerned. So that's the artist's side. What's the government's thinking behind proposing these changes?
Well, the government argues that the current copyright setup is actually holding back the UK's creative industries
Holding them back. How?
by making it too complicated or legally risky, perhaps, for companies to develop AI using creative content. They see it as stifling innovation in the AI space.
Okay, so it's that classic tension, innovation versus existing rights.
Exactly. But then you have Ed Newton-Rex stepping in. He's the one who organized this silent album protest, and he founded an organization called Fairly Trained.
And what's his take? Does he think new laws are needed?
Quite the opposite, actually. He argues pretty strongly that existing UK law already makes it illegal to use copyrighted material for AI training without getting permission.
Oh, interesting. So he's saying the problem isn't the law itself, but maybe enforcement.
That's a big part of it. He suggests the focus should be on enforcing the laws we already have, not weakening them. He also points towards solutions like transparency.
Transparency.
Yeah.
Like knowing what data AI models are trained on.
Yes. He brings up the EU AI Act, which has rules requiring AI companies to disclose their training data. Apparently, similar ideas were proposed in the UK, too.
So forcing companies, even overseas ones operating in the UK, to basically show their work and prove they're following UK copyright law.
That seems to be the gist of his proposed solution. Make it clear what's being used and hold companies accountable to existing laws.
It counters that narrative that the law is uncertain or needs a major overhaul, doesn't it?
It does. And he also tackles the situation in the US. There's often this assumption that using copyrighted stuff for AI training is like totally fine there.
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
But Newton-Rex points out there are, I think he said, over 30 lawsuits currently happening that challenge that very idea. And there was even a recent court ruling against an AI company on this issue.
Okay, so the idea that the UK is somehow falling behind permissive international norms might, well, not the full picture. The legality seems pretty contested elsewhere, too.
It certainly seems more complex than just the US allows it, so we should too.
Right. So let's quickly recap before we wrap up. We have musicians releasing a silent album, a powerful symbolic protest.
Against potential copyright changes they fear will let AI developers use their work for free, undermining their livelihoods.
Then there's the government's view. Current rules hinder AI innovation in the creative sector.
But countered by Ed Newton-Rex, arguing existing UK law is sufficient if enforced, and advocating for transparency, pointing to the EU and ongoing US legal fights.
It really boils down to a fundamental conflict, doesn't it? How do we encourage AI development without, sacrificing the rights and livelihoods of the creators whose work fuels it?
That's the core question. It's a tough balancing act.
So for everyone listening, thinking about these different arguments, the artist's fears, the government's push for innovation, the legal debates, where do you think the fairest balance lies? What might the long-term impact be, not just on music, but all creative fields, if we get this wrong? Something to definitely think about.